It has more calcium than milk, more protein than wheat. It thrives in drought where corn would die in a week, and the Spanish Empire made it illegal to plant under penalty of death. They didn't just ban it. They burned the fields. They severed the hands of farmers who kept the seeds hidden in their walls. This wasn't agriculture. This was war. Because amaranth wasn't just food. It was independence. And empires don't conquer independent people. They conquer the hungry. This is the story of amaranth, the fortress crop we were taught to forget. Go back to 1519, the year Cortez stepped onto a beach and saw pyramids that made Spanish cathedrals look like garden sheds. The Aztec Empire wasn't just powerful, it was fed. 8 million people in a civilization that had no cows, no pigs, no wheat. What they had was a trinity. Corn for carbohydrates, beans for nitrogen, and amaranth for everything else. They called it huatli. The grain poured like sand, deep crimson, gold, black as obsidian. It didn't just feed the body, it fed the gods. Every year during the month of Panquetzalistli, Aztec women would grind amaranth seeds into flour, mix it with honey and human blood, and sculpt it into the shape of Huitzilopochtli, the god of war. The priests would carry this edible idol through the streets. Then they would break it apart. Every citizen would eat a piece. Communion. Flesh of the god made from the grain of the earth. The Spanish didn't see agriculture. They saw paganism baked into bread. But before it was heresy, it was survival. Amaranth saved the Aztecs during the Great Drought of 1450. For 4 years, the rains didn't come. The corn shriveled brown in the fields. The beans turned to dust. Famine killed thousands. But amaranth kept growing. Its roots punched 8 feet into the earth to find water the surface had forgotten. The leaves stayed green when everything else looked like October. While nobles rationed their maize reserves and commoners boiled leather sandals for something to chew, the amaranth fields on the Chinampas continued to produce. The Aztecs ate the seeds. They ate the leaves like spinach. They made a porridge called alegria that kept children from starving. They survived. When the rains returned, they didn't forget. They wove amaranth into every ceremony, every festival, every law. It wasn't just food. It was the plant that proved the gods hadn't abandoned them. Then came the fall. Cortez didn't just want gold, he wanted submission. And submission starts with dependency. He saw the Aztec rituals, the grain shaped into gods, the communion that tied every citizen to a belief system older than his own. He wrote back to King Charles, "These people worship through their crops. Destroy the crops, destroy the worship." In 1577, the Spanish crown issued the order. Amaranth was banned, fields were burned, storage silos were emptied into rivers. Possession of seeds became a crime, punishable by execution. Farmers who resisted had their hands cut off in the town square as a lesson. Within 2 generations, amaranth nearly vanished from Mesoamerica. The Spanish replaced it with wheat. Wheat that needed mills. Mills that needed licenses. Licenses that needed taxes. Suddenly, the people who had fed themselves for 1,000 years needed permission to eat. That's not conquest. That's control. But here's what the conquistadors didn't understand. You can burn a field. You can't burn an idea. In the mountains of Oaxaca and the hidden valleys of Peru, indigenous families kept amaranth alive. Not in fields, in gardens, behind walls, under floorboards. They planted it in secret the way other people hid books or weapons. They passed seeds from grandmother to granddaughter in pouches sewn into skirts. For 400 years, amaranth lived underground. Not because it was weak, because it was dangerous, because a family that can grow amaranth doesn't need a supply chain, doesn't need a distributor. doesn't need a government to approve their food. That kind of independence has always terrified the people in charge. Now let's talk about what they tried to erase. Modern labs have finally measured what the Aztecs knew by instinct. 1 cup of cooked amaranth contains 9 grams of protein. That's more than an egg. It has twice the calcium of milk, 4 times the iron of brown rice. It contains lysine, the amino acid missing in almost every other grain. That means it's a complete protein. Vegetarians and vegans spend years trying to combine foods to get what amaranth offers in a single bowl. It's gluten-free. It has more fiber than oatmeal, more magnesium than spinach. These aren't marketing claims. These are measurements from the USDA database, the same institution that spent a century promoting wheat and corn, while amaranth sat in the forgotten crops file. It grows in deserts, in mountains, in soil so poor that nothing else will sprout. It laughs at pH imbalances that would kill tomatoes. It tolerates salt. It tolerates heat. Some varieties handle light frost. NASA studied it in the 1980s as a candidate crop for space colonies because it produces more edible biomass per square foot than almost any other plant on Earth. The leaves taste like spinach with a peppery bite. The seeds pop like miniature popcorn and smell like toasted nuts when you cook them. The Aztecs made them into candy bars with honey called alegría, which means joy. The taste is nutty, earthy, slightly sweet. This isn't health food. This is food that makes you feel wealthy in your own skin, and it heals. Recent studies show amaranth lowers LDL cholesterol better than oat bran. It stabilizes blood sugar in type 2 diabetics. It contains squalene, a rare compound your body uses to make vitamin D and synthesize hormones. Shark liver oil gets marketed as a squalene supplement for $200 a bottle. Amaranth gives it to you in a 50-cent bowl of porridge. It reduces inflammation in the gut, which means it helps with everything from arthritis to depression to autoimmune conditions. The peptides in amaranth protein have been shown to lower blood pressure as effectively as some pharmaceutical AC inhibitors. The ancient Aztec mothers would feed amaranth porridge to children who were sick, not because they had labs, because they had centuries of watching children recover. But here's the part that should make you angry. Amaranth never disappeared because it failed. It disappeared because it succeeded too well outside the system. Industrial agriculture is built on 3 pillars: patents, monoculture, dependency. Amaranth breaks all 3. You can't patent a plant that's been grown for 8,000 years. It cross-pollinates too easily to control. It doesn't need pesticides because most insects ignore it. It doesn't need fertilizer because it pulls nitrogen from the air. It doesn't need irrigation because it thinks drought is a mild inconvenience. That makes it worthless to the companies that own the food supply. Monsanto can't sell you amaranth seeds every spring. John Deere can't sell you a specialized harvester. Cargill can't store it in silos and control the price. A single plant produces 500,000 seeds. That means one purchase gives you a lifetime supply. You become the supply chain. That's not a crop. That's a revolution growing in your backyard. During World War II, when supply lines choked and rationing turned dinner into math, the United States government quietly promoted amaranth as a Victory Garden staple. Posters showed families growing it in window boxes. It was easy. It was free. It was patriotic. Then the war ended. The posters came down. Chemically fertilized wheat flooded back into stores. Amaranth vanished again. Not because people stopped liking it, because corporations can't profit from a plant your grandmother can grow in a coffee can. The amaranth teaches us that resilience looks like chaos to people who profit from your fragility. It teaches us that the most dangerous crops aren't the ones that feed you. They're the ones that free you. Every seed is a vote against the supply chain. Every garden is a border the government can't tax. The system doesn't fear your hunger. It fears your independence. That's why they burned the fields. That's why they severed hands. That's why your supermarket has 40 brands of cereal and 0 bags of amaranth flour. Control isn't about what you're allowed to eat. It's about what you're allowed to grow. A population that can feed itself can say no, can walk away, can build alternatives. That's what the conquistadors understood in 1577. That's what Monsanto understands now. Right now, amaranth is staging a comeback, not because of governments or corporations, because of grandmothers in Oaxaca selling seeds at farmers' markets, because of permaculture nerds planting it in food forests, because of Ethiopians and Nepalese and Peruvians who never stopped growing it. You can buy seeds online for $3. They'll grow in a pot on your balcony, in a crack in your driveway, in the corner of your yard where grass gave up. Plant them after the last frost. Water them once a week. In 90 days, you'll have a 6-foot-tall plant covered in seed heads that look like burgundy waterfalls. Cut the heads when they're dry. Thresh them by rubbing them between your hands over a bowl. You'll have a pound of grain that stores for years. Cook it like rice. Pop it like popcorn in a dry pan. Grind it into flour for pancakes that taste like the Aztecs are whispering recipes through time. This isn't nostalgia. This is infrastructure. The kind you can eat. The kind that doesn't need permission. The knowledge isn't lost. It's just waiting in seed catalogs and grandmother's cupboards and the corner of your mind that remembers humans survived 10,000 years without grocery stores. The empire burned the fields because they knew. A person who can grow amaranth doesn't need an empire. They just need dirt and sunlight and the audacity to remember. If this vault opened something for you, subscribe. There are more stories buried under convenience, more plants erased by profit, more blueprints for independence hiding in the ruins of the past. The algorithm buries the truth. Your attention resurrects it. Welcome to the vault. The door is open.